Coming up, yo, Adrian, we did it. Join us as we dissect Project Hail Mary. Stay tuned.
Hi, Grace.
You're in a ball.
So rocky, no Diane Grace atmosphere. I come up.
Oh, you're coming up.
Welcome to the Morgue, where we dissect the latest and greatest in the world of entertainment. And we are your hosts, Arturo Padilla, along with Mr. Nick Valdez. Before we get started, do not forget to subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and hit that bell. That way you know when all these videos are dropping. Tex, how we doing today, dude? What's up?
Howdy, everybody. Howdy, Arturo. Project Hail Mary, kind of like a science fiction surprise. It's based on the novel by Andy Weir, who I believe also wrote The Martian, which was that Matt Damon movie where he got stuck on Mars. Yeah, which was also not a bad movie, honestly. The Martian. That's a very solid movie. And funny enough, this is kind of in the same vein of like a lone astronaut in space is stuck and kind of needing to figure out the situation. But the twist is that he wakes up in a strange ship. You have Ryan Gosling as Ryland Grace. He has no memories of how he got on that ship, and he's kind of trying to figure out what's going on and piecing his life together. And through the movie, he's figuring it out. All the while, you've got like this alien rock creature that shows up, and they become best friends. And and this is kind of like, this is all he figures out eventually. He's on a mission to save the Earth because the sun is dying. And this is all being directed by Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who you probably remember their names being associated with the Spider-Verse movies. They produced them. But in terms of like what they've directed, they've done stuff like the Lego movie. But the last live action movie they directed was 22 Jump Street, which is kind of like, you take 22 Jump Street and you're like, oh, Project Hail Mary, total like opposite ends of the spectrum, right? Like in terms of content,
totally different content. Completely different. Completely different. So the content from these directors are completely different, but it shows you their range, right? And they've been successful in both. In all three, I should say, right? The Lego movie was successful. 22 Jump Street was really funny, and Project Hail Mary is freaking awesome. Like, man, what a movie. The only thing that I have to say about this thing is that it's just incredibly long. So just if you go to the theater, please be prepared to be there for at least 2 hours and 40 minutes of your time, not including trailers and commercials. So you're looking at 3 hours in a theater. And you do feel that length just a little bit. And we'll get to that down the line in the conversation. But this movie, man, visually, it's stunning. It's gorgeous. It's a super positive movie. It's a feel-good movie. I haven't seen a feel-good movie in a long time. And this one definitely hit all those major beats. And Ryan Gosling was great, especially interacting with this practical alien rock life form the entire time. He was phenomenal. I was just telling Tex off air, this was like one of his previous movies, Lars and the Real Girl, where he had to interact with a life-size human doll. And so he's had practice working with inanimate objects. And here he showcases all that talent, and he definitely shines. The freaking Rocky, what a talent. This practical alien rock, Tex.
Yes.
So cute.
So, okay.
But it's so adorable.
We're gonna have to get into spoilers here a little bit with Project Hail Mary. If you have yet to see it, please go check it out. Honestly, we'll give our full scores here in a little bit, but yes, go check out the movie if you haven't, and come back and see us here. But if not, then we're kind of gonna be dancing around it, because that's also the story too, where the story is not really about like concrete spoiler details. It's about like, this is one of those things, it's cliche, but it's about the story, right? It's about falling in love with this rock puppet that's like, it's practical, but it's also CG, but it doesn't have like a human face. It doesn't have like human features. So it's very impressive by this team that they are able to kind of like make it to where you do get that connection. And that's the dynamic of the movie. You have Ryan, like, once again, like Arturo said, like Ryan Gosling's kind of like, he really is alone here for like 75% of the movie, and it puts a lot on his shoulders, like a ton. Like it's one of those things where if like I don't think it would work with any other actor because Ryan Gosling's kind of like he has built this like I don't want to say persona because it kind of isn't. It really like the more you watch his movies, right? The more you kind of like, oh, this is just who the guy is, right?
Yeah.
Like very charming guy, and like Ryland Grace is kind of like the most golly gee willikers version of Ryan Gosling yet. Of like he's got he's a middle school teacher. He's got like this great sweater he wears at some points, like
I know. I love the Fox cardigan.
yeah, like
You need it.
he's very nerdy and he's very aw shucks and he's very like, but he that's his characterization. We get it through flashbacks, right? Through the whole movie, he's trying to figure out who he is and why he's there and kind of putting together what his mission is and what he's supposed to be doing. And as he kind of remembers these things, we see them through flashbacks. And through those flashbacks, you learn about the mission, you learn about what Project Hail Mary is and why he's in space. But there's so much that like if Ryan Gosling wasn't Ryan Gosling, it wouldn't work. I think like if you put like let's say who's like a good example of like a Chris Pratt, right? Like you want your the guy like your everyman type of like he's where he's like, oh, he can be kind of charming, or like Dwayne Johnson, honestly, of like the box office draw, right? Of like you put him in this kind of role and it's like there's so much demanded out of him that like and demanding of his personality, because if you don't like Ryland Grace and you don't like his shtick basically, then it comes off as sticky, right? It comes off as like, oh, he's really acting up like a Ryan Reynolds, you know what I mean? Like if he was just a little more sarcastic, any actor would not be able to sell it. He had to be 100% either like just sell the genuine nature of it, right? He had to be like, because this is that kind of movie. It's just like Arturo said, like it's a feel good movie, and Ryan Gosling, like you kind of had to buy that, right? Like you kind of had to
100%, especially as we go through the movie and we learn about his life and how he got onto that ship, which he was never supposed to be on. It becomes very interesting, and we get this connection with Ryland Grace. And then because we get this connection with him, he's a very human character, very grounded character, very likable. And that goes the same with Rocky, the alien. This is why they're so compatible, because each of them are alone in this mission. They're on the same page in order to they're there in that location to save their respective planets. And they're both alone. Rocky, because of whatever happened in the ship, the majority of his crew died. He saw his crew pretty much die the entire trip, and he's by himself there. Same thing with Grace. There were other 2 crew members on there, a pilot as well as an engineer, and they died in coma during the travel. And he's all alone. And like Tex was saying, he wakes up on this ship, not knowing a gosh darn thing as to how he got there, why he's even there, what his name is at first. He's so disoriented because of the induced coma that he was in, that he has no clue what's going on. So when we first meet him in this ship, he's like all grizzled out, and he is trying to get his bearings straight, and he's trying to figure out exactly what is going on and what to do in this situation. And he's just kind of acclimating himself to the ship and to the fact that like, hey, I am alone here, and what am I doing here? Like his memories start slowly coming back, and he realizes, oh my god, I'm on this mission, which is this one-way mission, straight to this star, like light years away from Earth, and no way home, because they didn't plan to have enough fuel for the ride back. So he comes to this realization, as we come to the same realization with him. It's like, yo, you're by yourself. You have no help. Let's see what you're made of. And we learn about his life. We learn about how smart he is, why he's in the position that he is. And it's when he meets Rocky that this whole story kind of just gets even better. And it's the craziest thing, because like Tex was saying, Rocky is he doesn't have any features that can be relatable. He's just like a rock. And then the fact that this film crew made this alien life form into this like puppy kind of thing was absolutely like brilliant. And that's what we have here. It's like a man and his best friend just trying to solve this crazy situation that's going to benefit the whole universe. And it's crazy. It's a crazy perspective once you realize that, whoa, you're just one man and like one rock alien just trying to go through the motions right now.
Yeah, and it's wild because like through the thing, it starts out like a dog and man kind of dynamic, right? But then like the more you learn about Rocky, the more, because and that's that's one of those science fiction thingies that you always kind of write off of like, they're so smart that they're able to like put all this stuff together. It's just kind of stuff you kind of like it once like I do have to mention it, so sorry to be nitpicky, but it's like it's one of those things where like if the movie didn't like sell its emotional side so well, I would be focusing on the fact that like how does he know how to fly a ship? Like how does he know how to even survive it?
Even work?
Yes. Like how much does he have of his brain? You know what I mean? Like but once again, it's like, oh, he's also an electrical engineer, and but he's a bio doctor, we learn. Like he's more like a biological doctor, but he can also put together a machine that lets him communicate with Rocky. But science fiction, right? That's just part of the experience where it's like, oh, okay, you accept it because we want to get to the point where they can talk to each other because they realize they're basically the same. Yeah, like they're basically the same person.
Listen, Tex, if you can fly that ship, you can build an alien translator out of a computer and a laptop or iPad or whatever that was.
Yes. And it's also one of those things where it's like, yes, you can feasibly imagine that he's also spent so long, right? Because it's in space and this is kind of the only thing he's got to focus on. So I can imagine like if you have 24 hours in an Earth day, I can imagine like space time, and you're like, you just all the time in the world to like kind of do all this stuff. So at the end of the day, there's a way to explain everything, but I do have to mention it as just like a thing, right? And in terms of the movie itself, like visually, like Arturo said, like the rock, like that's just part of it. Like the movie itself looks fantastic. And one of the things that like has been pointed out in interviews is that there's no use of green screen, which is like kind of like I don't know how because it's like there's so much of it that's just like
I need a BTS ASAP on this because that is crazy.
I kind of need that Blu-ray with like the all the extra features on it.
Absolutely,
because it's one of those things too, like not only the story is emotionally investing, but like on a technical level you're also kind of watching it on a technical level and being like, man, this is like they're pulling off some incredible stuff here,
dude. Like visually wow. Like if you didn't have the chance to watch this on a big screen, a huge premium format IMAX, I definitely would be like, go watch that. I was able to watch it on Regal's RPX, which is a bigger kind of screen, a little smaller than IMAX, but it comes through 100%. The visuals in this movie are absolutely stunning and just breathtaking, especially when we get into all the space stuff and the going on to the conflict, and because what they have to fight and what they have to cure and solve are seen in different spectrums of light. We see a lot of colors on the screen and it benefits just everything. It looks so awesome when he's trying to decipher if this astrophagia is still there, and then he changes the light spectrum and it becomes this pink kind of thing, and it's just very impressive. I definitely want to see how they made that. If you guys are watching on YouTube, there's also this scene where he's doing a spacewalk, and there's a picture here as well. That green thing you see there, that's the planet. That's a planet. It's a planet called Adrian that he dubs Adrian. It's just gorgeous. Like I can compare this visually. I remember watching Alien Romulus, and in the final act of Alien Romulus, when that ship was going down and they had the whole space sequence going on, and you saw all of that and you were just impressed by the scale of everything. It's the same thing here, but like in a grander scale and better done.
It's allowed to use color, because
Yes.
Romulus had to have a dark tone, so it had
Yes,
to
yes.
have dark
But here
tones,
we have exactly, Tex. We have these colors here that are just so visually pleasing, man, that
Yeah.
once you get to these points, like in the movie, once we're here, we've already gone through a bunch of flashbacks, which kind of take us away from the main
Yeah.
mission, unfortunately, and elongates this runtime even further.
Yeah.
They are needed though. That's the thing. After the movie, I was thinking, I'm like,
That's
what can I cut from here? What
that's
can I
what's
cut from the
tough.
2 hours and
Yeah.
36 minutes? But then,
No,
like,
1,000% agree.
we
Yeah.
needed to have these flashbacks in order to get to the main real flashback, which explains how he got to the ship, which we'll get there in a second. But the flashbacks do take away a little bit from the the main mission at hand, which is Grace and Rocky trying to figure out how to fix this problem all the way out in the cosmos. And I do understand why the flashbacks are there, is to give us a little bit more insight on Grace and his personality and everything. But I think that's also done very well in the ship, in his communication with Rocky, and how he
Yeah.
engages with this life form.
Yeah, that's one of those things, because it's tough, because it's like it really is like a show versus tell situation.
Mhm.
So you can't really fault, like, it's tough, because I can't fault the movie either for like deciding to show the flashback
Yeah.
rather than have Grace maybe like it, like in a different version would be like just saying this to Rocky, like explaining stuff, like or like over the course of conversation they would like kind of we'd figure this stuff out, right? So like it's that's also like, yes, it's a very positive move. And they Lord and Miller also do make the like transitions to flashbacks interesting, because
Yeah.
there's always like a camera trick, right?
Mhm.
Like there's always like a spin, or like it uses the fact that it's like Ryan Gosling's kind of floating around,
Yeah,
and
there's
like,
good transitional edits to those flashbacks, 100%. And I
yeah,
think
like,
that's why they sneak up on us, right? Because we're
yeah,
so into the main story of him in
yes,
space that, like, you have no choice but to just continue with it, because they'll just throw the flashback in there. And again, the flashbacks aren't terrible. It's not like they're unnecessary. They do show more of Grace and his personality, pretty much. It's where we
yeah,
get, like, why
it's
he's
more for the
alone,
vibe. Yeah,
why, like, what he's doing this for, like, there's a good sequence in there that Rocky says, like, "Hey, like, I'm doing this for my wife at home and my people at home, and who are you doing this for?" And even as we get the flashbacks, he keeps getting that from, the people around him, like, because he's so unaware of what's about to happen to him.
yeah,
He's very much living in this space where he's like, okay, cool, I'm just gonna go with these motions, I'm just gonna, do all this science stuff. And when the real hard-hitting truth is set upon him, like, it kind of turns his world upside down, which is a little weird. Like, I'm surprised we don't see him react a certain way on the ship, because full spoilers,
yeah,
we're having a full spoiler conversation. In this movie, we find out through one of the flashbacks in the third act that he, because of some, crazy accident, explosion at this base, the entire science team that was going to go up to space was lost. So he was the only one qualified to actually go up there. And they pretty much voluntold him to do so. Um,
yeah, yeah.
they 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 induced his coma way early. Like, they chased him down, put him in a coma, and
They
strapped him into that ship.
yeah, they went full US government. And then the cool thing too about the movie too, it's like it's also imagines a world where the entire world will work together on something. So that's also
Yeah,
part of like the cool hopeful message, right? Of like, this is Earth that put together this last ditch mission to like save the whole planet, and every country was working together, and of course it's implied that like if things go south, then this all ends too. But like but with him, yeah, like even with all that said, like the world kind of forces him into this position that he didn't want to. And then we see, it has to come to a point where he kind of remembers that, but also decides to kind of live for someone else too. And he finds this in Rocky. He finds someone to live for. And it's like
yes.
it all just hits, man.
Yeah.
And it's tough because I also agree that with the flashbacks, like that's the thing, like it's a long movie, man, and there's no getting around that, right? Like there's it's a long experience, but it's kind of one of those where it's like I I also can't think of where I would cut, right?
Yeah,
And
right?
like you were saying earlier, where it's like I don't know if I'd shorten anything because it all like even the flashbacks where it's like even the ones that didn't seem like they would matter, it was all more of just giving us personality and kind of filling out who Ryland Grace was. But it's just you feel it when when he's in the midst of saving Rocky, it's like it's
Yeah.
cutting away from that. And that's where it's like, oh, it always it was just unfortunate, right? It's an unfortunate thing of like needing to put those flashbacks in there because it's like when you're in the current flow of the story, you're like, yeah, let's get into it. And like when Grace does these things, there's honestly, I felt the space adventure, right? Like I felt the whole tension, right, of the space adventure where it's like,
Yeah.
I even kind of got like, oh, how is this going to go? Even though we have many examples of this movie not being that kind of movie, you're still kind of like, is this going to go poorly for him? And
Yeah.
and every time he does something wild and crazy in space, you're like, is this it? But no, like the movie takes you through all those journeys, and then by the end of it, like when it's all said and done, you're like, yeah, like it's a good movie, man. Like I think like yeah, I had a good time.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a very well put together movie, well executed. It's one of those movies that you go to the theater to see, honestly, because it's cinema,
Yeah.
right? As they say.
So
But like it's
yeah,
definitely dude, yeah, it was just an awesome movie. It was a little long for me, honestly. But like I said, I don't know where I would cut in order to make it
yeah,
shorter.
yeah,
Uh, because everything just adds a little more to Ryland's personality and his experience before getting on that ship. And then it all adds and leads to his experience with Rocky, and what
yeah,
he does with him. So we kind of need all that. And all that said, though, again, visually, this movie's stunning. Ryan Gosling was great in this movie. We got a freaking rock monster that was great.
yeah.
I fell in love with a rock. I want a pet rock now, Tex.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and with that being said, Arturo, this is how we do things at the morgue. We have our ratings here scale. We have our pay for it, which is go check it out, go see it in theaters, pay for your tickets, pay for your subscription service to pay it. It's that kind of movie. There's wait for it, which is you don't need to see it right away, but you should still see it eventually. See it at your convenience, watch it when it's free, watch it when you can, that kind of thing. You're not, you'll be fine. And then there's stay away from it, which is kind of like the self-explanatory category of like, if we just don't bother seeing it, you're not missing out on anything. So here at the morgue, Arturo, on our scale, pay for it, wait for it, or stay away from it. What say you, Arturo?
I'm gonna say off the bat, like I said earlier in the show, this is definitely an experience you have to go to the movies for. And it's 100% pay for it. Like I said, try and watch it in the biggest premium format you can afford because it is worth it for the visuals. But again, if you can just watch it on a 2D big screen in the theater, go watch the matinee, go get that cheap ticket, but just go watch it in theaters because once you get to space, everything is just so visually well done. We didn't even talk about the ships. Like Rocky ship is so freaking cool, dude. Like it has such an awesome design. It's so sci-fi. I
Yeah,
love it. I'm a huge sci-fi guy, and I love the design of the ship. I'm curious what the description in the book said about this ship, and how
yeah.
they describe it. But it's 100% pay for it. And I'm glad we finally got to pay for it. It's been like a while, right?
It has been
February
a
was a
while.
tough month for us after January
Yeah,
was so good to us.
yeah, we've please check out the reviews of the morgue. Some things have just not turned out as well because I will also say pay for it. Like it's I saw it just as Arturo said it, like the matinee screening of just like a regular, because I wasn't thinking anything, right? Because like you hear about this movie, you see it advertised, and you're like, yeah. And me, I don't really like sci-fi. Like I'm on that end of the spectrum. Like I'm not really a big fan. But with this, I really like this, and it's not only just like a solid movie in terms of like how well it's made and how well it's put together, how well it's performed. It's also just like a feel good movie. Like Arturo said from the beginning, it's just a feel good movie. And not only is this like the first pay for it we've had forever, it's the first truly like I walked out of there going, yeah, kind of like felt good for humanity for a bit. And in our darkest hour, like we kind of need more of that. And if you're looking for that, if you're looking for like, yes, it's long, but it's worth your ticket, right? Like if you're paying your $15 and you're like, yo, I'm gonna pay for my $50 popcorn, I'm gonna watch this 3-hour movie and have a great time.
Yeah, you do get your money's worth, and this is exactly why we say pay for it, folks. Go out there, go pay for Project Hail Mary. It is showing in theaters now. Go watch that before it hits VOD in the next 30 days or so, because the big screen really does justice to
Yeah.
all the work and all the technical work the filmmakers did behind this movie, and it deserves to be watched in that format. And folks, thank you so much for listening. This has been The Morgue, where we dissect the latest and greatest in the world of entertainment. And we are your hosts, Arturo Padilla, along with Mr. Nick Valdez. A big shout out goes to you guys out there for listening and for watching. We have all these episodes on our YouTube archive, as well as anywhere you get your podcast streams. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, hit the thumbs up, hit the bell, leave a 5-star review, leave some comments. We appreciate all that stuff. A big shout out goes to Del Virus for all the artwork you've seen in front of you throughout the years. And last but not least, folks, always remember, especially these days, it is a scary, scary world out there, but we are here to walk you through it.